Yeah, so I'm David Pearce. I'm currently the chair of the International Rare Disease Research Consortium, which is a global organization with representing over 30 countries around the world, and has funding agencies and companies that are associated to rare disease research, as well as actually having patient advocacy groups for many of those countries. Yeah, I've had a tremendous, career thus far. I mean, I'm a bench scientist, and as luck would have it, I made a discovery that was very important to understanding the biochemistry of a rare children's disease called Batten disease, which ultimately led, to a greater understanding of the disease, but also the first ever clinical trial with respect to this particular disease. That led to me being recruited to establish a research center for a health system. So I, used that position, to build infrastructure for more clinical trials and patient registries. So I have a reputation for being a program builder and being very collaborative. So then that led to me, ultimately, being the chair of the International Research Consortium. But that journey has taken me, to be beyond being a bench scientist and clinical trials, because now, the implications of the diagnostics, the implications of the fact that applying this to so many rare diseases is complex. So I chair an organization now where we discuss how do we have access to these drugs across different, countries, and also how do we sort of bridge the stigma of rare diseases in different countries. I think there's, technology is a wonderful thing. 20 years ago, the genomic sequencing capabilities and the genetic diagnosis capabilities we had was significantly less than it actually is now. So I think we completely, struggle with the diagnostic odyssey. Still, it takes me, on average 6 years, for a diagnosis of a rare disease patient. But we're getting much more efficient at the genetic diagnosis. So I think, when you ask me this question in a few more time, I'll be basically saying access to genetic diagnosis has really expedited things. The science is advanced. We've just got to learn how to apply it. Rare diseases knows no socioeconomics. It can affect people that are educated, it can affect rich people, it can affect poor people. One of the challenges is that's the human condition is everybody views their priorities very differently. So, if you have a child with a rare disease, depending on who you are and where you are, you may have different priorities and different expectations. So aligning those priorities as researchers and public health policies, and of course across different countries, is really a challenge. I think there's a phrase in life called "you can't please everyone," and I think that really does beset with rare diseases. I mean, thus far we're still early on with this meeting, but I've been so impressed with the standard of science here. I mean, this is my second time visiting India. I was at an undiagnosed meeting a few years ago, and I left that meeting, so impressed with the level of science. And really, what's happening here in India is no different than what's happening in countries like America and the United Kingdom and Australia. We just don't hear so much about the advancements that you have here. It takes a village, as they say. So the International Rare Disease Research Consortium, we partner with countries. We have membership from India, but I feel that we'll have greater membership coming out of this meeting, so we can get a greater understanding of really what I hear so much about the diversity of the population in India. How do we actually apply that to the diversity of the population across the globe? Because there's something called heterogeneity in rare disease, and that's because we're all different, and sometimes rare diseases can manifest clinically a little bit different. So I think that's going to be one of the major advances that we can leverage here from this population.